Hello, everybody. How you doing? Dave Fennoy here, and it's another Ask Dave Fennoy Anything on a Wednesday. Glad to be here. I've got my Neumann shirt on. Bet you're wondering where you can get one of those, huh? Anyway, a couple things I want to talk about right off the bat. Tomorrow, and I should have been talking about this for about a week or so, but tomorrow, free webinar. We're going to cover a lot of subjects. And people will get a chance to read. We're going to cover video games, promos, narration, how to find your signature voice, and how to get rid of reedy reads. And I'm finding I have a chance to teach around the country and lately around the world. And I was talking with one of the people who brings me up to San Francisco to teach, and she said, well, we've got people that want to do your video game course, but what else have you got? And I started talking about teaching how to find your signature voice and the things that I do, and how to get rid of reedy reads. And, we talked for a little bit. She shared it with the rest of the folks up there, and they were very, very excited. They're going to be bringing me up for that. And as I think about it, a lot of what I do when I'm teaching voice acting for video games is how to get rid of the reedy read. The business has changed. What the market is looking for now is very, very different. I was at the anime convention, and I was with several voice actors, and Jill Kershaw, who casts tons and tons and tons of commercials. And one of the things she said to Lori Allen and I, as we're sitting there, she says, oh, well, people have deep, beautiful professional voices. We almost always just throw those auditions out right away, which is going to have a lot of people who have deep, beautiful voices going, so what do you do? What do you do? I'm going to tell you something. I don't think the problem is really deep, beautiful voices. I think the problem is the reedy read. I think the problem is not connecting with the copy or connecting with the human being you're supposed to be talking to about the copy. And I think the most important thing, if you are a prospective voice actor now, it's never been about lean into your voice. It's always been about connecting, but now even more so. I have often said that if you have a beautiful voice, a great voice, the better your voice sounds, the faster bad acting shows up. And I think that's one of the reasons we hear so many voices that seem just like, it's a regular voice. It's just a regular person saying these words. I'm going to suggest they're doing more than just say the words. I'm going to suggest that they are probably a little more in touch with who they really are. And that's what we have to be. This business is kind of going in two directions at the same time. On one hand, we're looking for voice talent that are more authentic. We're not necessarily looking for professional voices anymore. We're looking for authentic voices, voices that we can believe. And the other side of that, the number of AI voices that are going to be taking lots and lots of jobs. They're not going to take the video game jobs. They're not going to take the cartoon jobs. They're not going to take the good commercial jobs. They're not even going to take the good narration jobs. What they are going to take over, telephony, they already are. Of course, when you Google voice and so forth and so on, there are a few jobs to do those voices. I know I'm one of them. But more and more things that don't require human emotion, things that aren't dependent upon how do you feel about this, instructions. A lot of that's going to be going over to AI voices. So we need to get prepared. We need to get prepared. Once again, tomorrow, 7 o'clock, not 6, 7 o'clock tomorrow, free webinar. It's going to be on GoToWebinar. There's a link if you're looking at the side page up there where you see my little picture and it says Ask Dave Fennoy anything for tomorrow's free webinar. Click this link. Click that link if you'd like to join us for free. There will be people who get a chance to read. All right, so let me back up. I just jumped in there with both guns, didn't I? Say hello to some people. Hey, Kelly, Mark, Issa, Michael Glover, what's going on? Mark Aaron Gilman, Issa again. Oh, I love the clapping. Thank you. Thomas, oh, you have such great questions. Virginia Watson, I still owe you 5 coaching sessions, Virginia. We need to get those scheduled, okay? Andre, what's going on, man? Natalia. Lisa, tell us what's going on. Cameron Hodgson, Bob Klopfenstein, Ashley Smart, what's happening? Didier Rojas Roman, I like that name. Janessa, how are you? Max, what's going on? And let's see if we can find a question here. Oh, you're very welcome, Christina. It's my pleasure. Hey, Dave, I don't have a question this week. I just thought I'd say hello and be at your webinar tomorrow. Thank you, Kevin. Good day from Australia, mate. Well, thank you, Carol. Appreciate it. And, the world is very small now. I haven't been to Australia to teach, although there's been some talk of some folks getting me down there. But I have some students that I coach in Australia because, the internet, you can go anywhere, any place, anytime with anybody, and stay at home at the same time. I kind of like that. But I'm looking for some questions. Come on, somebody's got something they want to know about. This is when I can always count on Thomas to come up with something. It's a good discussion about where this industry is going. Currently, there are more jobs in voiceover than there have ever been before, and at the same time, our value as workers is being pushed down and pushed down and pushed down. And I think it behooves us all as our little mini entrepreneurs to understand that we're not living inside our own little personal bubble. We all have our personal career, but we're very interconnected. This is an industry where if and when we band together, we have power, just like other unions. And this is even outside of the idea of all of us being in SAG-AFTRA. I think it would be wonderful if we all were, but the powers that be, that 1%, the ownership class, just like the rest of workers, they are trying to pay us less and less and less. I have conversations all the time with my friends who do the pay-to-play sites, and Voices.com, they're terrible. They basically steal your money. But it's not just them. I heard some stories today about Voices 123 and the same kinds of thing. We are not who they are representing. We are a product that they're trying to sell to the voice buying community for the lowest prices ever. I heard a story today about a person who had some great clients through Voices 123, had been being paid a decent rate, not the highest rate, but a decent rate. And they came to her and say, well, what's your bottom line? How much can we not pay you? How deep is your ego, your honor? Can we pay you less? I know you've been doing this work but can we pay you less? That's what they're trying to do to us, folks. That is what they're trying to do to us. We need to stand strong. Michael Glover, how can I steal that T-shirt? When you were here for Backyard Jazz, Michael, you tried to steal my trophy. I still have it back there, but thank God I had the security guards. Can you tell us about Colombia and what they are seeing in VO there? Yes, I was in Bogota, Colombia a couple weeks ago for Viva Vios. And it was amazing. I was very honored to be invited down to come and speak to the Spanish-speaking audience and teach workshop voice acting for video games. I was a little concerned because my Spanish is non-existent. And I had promised myself I'm going to learn to speak Spanish before I go down there because I had a few months to, and I never got around to it. Fortunately, like the UN, you could put these little things in your ears, and there was somebody to translate. And when I was speaking, they handed out many more of those little recorders so people could hear the translation of me. I was also surprised by how aware the Spanish market is of the American market. They were very aware of myself. They were aware of Joan and Rudy and other voice actors. The two guys who dub my voice into video games down there they did me a great honor by taking my demo and dubbing themselves doing me. And that was kind of fun to watch. The business down there is a little bit different. Of course, there are commercials, TV promos and movie trailers and cartoons and video games. But one of the biggest businesses down there is dubbing. And that is dubbing for the Spanish market, entertainment that is in English. And that's video games, that's movies, that's TV show narrations, TV shows. And it's a thriving market. It does very well in Miami. I think we have a pretty good dubbing group here. And in Mexico and Colombia, I had the pleasure of meeting the gentleman who started the biggest dubbing company down there. It's a huge market. And guess what? As the Spanish market gets bigger and bigger, we're going to see English dubbing or Spanish being dubbed into English. Right now, when we think of dubbing, what we're really talking about is anime. It's all a Japanese product that we have fallen in love with, and we're dubbing from Japanese into English. Well, don't be surprised if we start seeing programs that are in Spanish that we're going to be dubbing into English. The Spanish market is growing. And when you think about it, we are in California, Los Angeles, San Diego, San Francisco. I think there's a Spanish influence here. Anyway, but it was wonderful. The trip was wonderful. The students, very serious, very technical in the training down there, much more technical than we are here. And then one of my favorite parts, a bunch of us went into Bogota because I couldn't come back and say, well, the hotel was nice. I don't know about the rest of Colombia. Went into Bogota, went to the shopping district, and got a tour of the Museum of Gold. And remember when you were in high school and they talked about the conquistadors and they were looking for El Dorado? We're going to find that city. We're going to find that city of gold. Well, they never found the city of gold, but scientists, I think it was in the 1950s, found El Dorado, and it turned out to be a lake where the chieftains of particular tribes, once they passed away, all their gold and jewels and a little gold raft that they would make were taken out into the middle of the lake and dumped. And that's what you find in the museum. Some of the gold art there dates back 2,000-3,000 years. It was amazing. Michael Scott, thanks for explaining International VO. How do you recommend finding representation abroad? You know what? Use the internet. Use the internet. There are agents who are looking for English-speaking talent all over the world. You can work in the Middle East. You can work in Europe. You can work in Asia. I think there's probably less work in Spanish-speaking countries. But there's probably going to be work there as well. Sean, how you doing? Long time. Hope all is well. And how's your Tesla doing, Sean? I'm so jealous. Okay. Stephanie, how are you, Reggio? And once again, Michael McDermott. I don't know what you're trying to say there, Steph. One of the best things about doing this is when I see people super talented like Stephanie there, my buddy Sean, who takes workshops with me and studies, but is a game developer and doing quite well at that, and still wants to, for some reason, get behind the microphone. I don't know what's wrong with him. Aaron Spurlock, what's going on? What else can I talk about? Because nobody's asking me any questions. This is Ask Dave Fennoy Anything. There's a lot that I could talk about. I'm going to save to tomorrow on some training, some exercises for finding your signature voice, for getting rid of reedy reads. But I tell you what I will discuss a little bit now is why we're hearing what we're hearing on TV and radio. I know a lot of people who have been in this business for a long time. Oh, Sean, ride's like a dream, though getting used to the pain of having a car payment again. Well, there has to be something, but I guess what? With the $5, with the gas going up, thanks to the taxes, it's going to pay for itself in 20, 30 years. Joshua Bailey, hey Dave, what's up, my man? My V103 is almost over. What do you suggest? What do you suggest I do find work? I'm not saying drop your voice 1, 2, 3, and if you've been finding success on voices.com, perhaps you don't want to drop that. You do have to make a living. I so understand that. We're in a little bit of a conundrum. And I don't think that just, hey, I'm done with these guys, it's over. And then you realize you've put yourself out there by yourself. We need a discussion throughout the world of voiceover to confront the people who are ripping us off. We just do. We need to come up with strategies. I don't necessarily have a strategy for how we do that. But this needs to be on the table as an ongoing discussion amongst all of us in the voiceover market. And when I say that, I'm not just talking about English speaking. One of the things I enjoyed about being in Colombia was the companionship, the kinship, the feeling of togetherness in the voiceover industry, Spanish market, English market. So it's this is a discussion that will continue. Christina Tattersall, video game auditions. Could you speak on vague directions, please? Oh, man, I had one this morning. I had one that gave you the characters, and these are characters that are pretty well known, and some lines, and no indication whatsoever of what the motivation was, who they were talking to, what the situation was, what the backstory, what happened just before, what they're thinking. Nothing. Their condition, nothing. Was this a battle line, or is this talking to your buddy Nick? Well, in cases like that, and that happens often, you have to make it up. You have to make it up. You have to create a scene so that you are sure that, you've got to be sure about what you're saying, even if they're not, even if they don't know that this is what they're expecting. Because if you're not sure, what they will hear is a read that they don't get. Oh, well, nice voice. I don't know what's going on. Now, and if you are positive about this is the scene, this is what's happening, this is why my character is saying this, you have a much, 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 much better shot at booking the job, because they will hear that, oh, this means something. I can feel what this is, even if they don't know exactly what it is. They'll feel it, as opposed to, it's kind of mushy, I have no idea, sort of, kind of not. Move on, next. All right. Sean, the artistic side of me just loves to create and perform, but it is an interesting dilemma for me because I make a great living doing something I love, but I also love the art and performance of VO. We are living so in a do-it-yourself world now. We're living in a world that a lot of what the rules were of work and careers has changed. I see no reason why you could not continue to be a developer and a voice. Sean, you're a young man. You might be in a position at some point where you own a company, and the games that you're developing, you have a part in voicing some of them as well. I wouldn't say to you, do either or. Keep doing both. Keep doing both. See where it takes you. Okay. Christian, have you ever considered signing up for the website where you do personalized video about shout-outs? A couple people have suggested that to me, and I could probably pick up a few extra bucks like that. I just haven't done it. And it's not that I don't like money. It has not been on the top of my list, but sure, I would do that. No problem. Kyle, good night. In this upcoming political market, do you stay away from these, or have you done any general thoughts? I have done politicals. I'll probably do politicals again. I don't think I could bring myself to do politicals for conservative politics. I would have to do things that are progressive and on the side of the people and not the corporations. But I could, and I probably will. I wouldn't be surprised. You're going to hear me on some stuff coming up in this political season. Kyle, good night. Is this? That's what you were just saying. Nadia Ahern, will your Thursday webinar be available later for rewatching if we can't make this fabulous live event? Yes, it will be. Yes, it will be. It will be on my YouTube page, and I might even just put it on Facebook again. All right, Daniel Gaudet. What's your current home recording setup? Still using this 737 SP? How about the mic? I'm just curious. I know that equipment doesn't get the job your voice does. Well, actually, it's not even my voice. It's the reed. And I'm going to keep saying stuff like that. It's not the voice. It's the reed. It's because it is. That's what it is. I don't care how wonderful your voice is or how not wonderful your voice is. If you can connect with people here and here, you're going to book. You're going to book. I have the 737. It's in the rack. I'm not using it just at the moment. I switch back and forth between it and right now what is it? The AFIX channel strip. But I have bought a new piece of equipment I just haven't put in yet. I'm very excited about my Universal Audio Apollo Twin. I'm going to get some help from a buddy of mine, and we're going to put it in one weekend, and every weekend something comes up, and I haven't been able to do it yet. But I'm going to give that a try. One of the things I like about it, I'll be able to be in the studio and control my volume. Right now, if I'm doing, say, a video game, and I'm going from normal talking to having to shout, I got to step out of the studio and make some adjustment. This way I can have it right there and twist the knob, and, oh, yeah, this is loud. I'll put that down without having to leave the studio. Microphone-wise, I have a collection of microphones. Sometimes I could beat myself up for spending the money for microphones that I rarely use. But I kind of think of it as like collecting art. I have a 416 hung in my studio right now, and most of the time I'm either on the 416 or a Neumann TLM 104. I have a U87 that I don't use. U87s are wonderful mics, but they like a big room. High ceiling, a lot of room. Otherwise, they tend to sound tinny. The 103 has the same capsule, but it's much more forgiving of the size of your room. And the 416 is one of the best microphones you could ever possibly use for voiceover. I know some of the ladies say that it's kind of not working for their voices, but you can use it in so many applications. You can use it far away. You can use it really close. You can use it off axis. As long as it's pointing at the source of the sound, it's going to pick it up. Love that mic. And that's why they call it the LA voiceover. And yeah, for this, Dave, ask Dave Fennoy anything. I've got my little my little blue raspberry that they gave me, and which is pretty much a knockoff of the Apogee iPad mic, both of which are great mics. And Blue was very nice to give it me. I'm using it, even though I'm wearing the Neumann shirt. It's not okay. Attending webinar tomorrow. How about character exercises, like things I can do daily to practice developing character stamina, sight, reading? I'll give you some notes that I got early in my career, before video games were a thing, and I was looking at cartoon characters. And this will work for video game characters too. When you were a kid, I bet you just made up voices. A lot of the people in this business now who are cartoon voices, who do a variety of voices, it started when they were kids, just having fun. Well, continue that having fun of creating voices, and never mind what your girlfriend, wife, boyfriend, husband, mom, dad, family, teachers, no matter, forget what the looks that they give you, like, what's wrong with that boy? He's got voices in his head. Would you stop, create those characters, give them names, give them a history, give them things that they like, things that they don't like, give them tendencies, give them fears, loves, all those things that make us who we are. It's not just about a voice. It's wonderful you can do a lot of voices. It's about what's behind the voice, what's inside. Give it a soul. When you can do that, you'll start to develop some good characters. And reach for the complicated. Just like we as human beings are very complicated. We're very conflicted. Sometimes we believe this and this at the same time. Find ways that you can bring the kind of conflict we have in ourselves to the characters you're developing. Very well. Amen. Characters hog. And, just to remember them, give them names, catalog them. When you record them and give them a speech or do your just making up stuff, improving who they are, save those recordings, and put them in a file of, these are my characters names. And one of the things you'll find is sometimes it's not that particular character. Maybe sometimes it's a little bit of this character with a little bit of this character, or this character's voice with this character's attitude. And what you will find in the long run is you will have developed ways of getting to emotional places with characters that go far beyond just doing the funny voice. And I promise you that will serve you well. Okay. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Hello, Ella. Valentina, how are you? Randy Scott Atwell. Adriana, how are you? No, did I miss anything? Janet Peters. Hi, Dave. Watching you from my car. Glad to be here. I hope you're not driving. You can be in your car, but don't be driving. Any more questions? I mean, I've kind of blown through this. I don't know why I'm energized today. I think because I haven't been here in a week or so. And there's so much information that I want to share. Well, I'll remind you again. Tomorrow, free webinar, 7 p.m. And we're going to cover video games. We're going to cover TV promos. We're going to cover narration. We're going to cover finding your signature voice, and also getting rid of reedy reads. Jonathan McKay, hello, Dave. Looking forward to working with you in the near future for some of your game projects. Keep doing your thing, brother. I will keep doing my thing. Do you know if in Los Angeles are Spanish video game studios or developers? That's a very good question, and I wish I could give you a definitive answer one way or the other. Los Angeles being the second biggest Mexican city in the world, I wouldn't be surprised if there were. And yeah, I said Mexican. because we have more Mexicans here than most cities in Mexico, except for Mexico City. But we also have to add to that lots of other Latin, Spanish voices from all parts of the Spanish-speaking world. So I wouldn't be surprised. But also wouldn't be surprised if there weren't. I could imagine that in Spain, Mexico, other Latin countries, that's where we would find most of the game developers that are developing games in Spanish. All right. Hey, Isabella Tugman, what's going on? Daniela. Carol Spencer Morgan, for those getting started, how to grab all those voices from childhood after they've been cataloged and get a great demo together, and what to look for in great VO acting coach. Wow. That's a couple of questions. Well, let's kind of go through that. You might not have been doing those voices as a child, but maybe you're having your second childhood. People were doing those voices when they were a kid. They may have kept it up, they may not. But you can start now. Start having fun with voices. You can use some of the voices that you hear now in cartoons and video games as templates, but don't try to be the next Bugs Bunny, because somebody's doing Bugs Bunny, somebody's doing Homer Simpson, somebody's doing so many of the iconic characters. Now you might be waiting for the person who's doing it to die and then be able to do it, but better idea is, take a little bit of what you've heard and what's out there and create something new. One of the best places to start is with friends and family. We all have a crazy uncle, a crazy aunt, a grandfather, a mother-in-law or something that is quite a character, and that we, on family occasions when they're not there, we have imitated. Yeah, I know. Those are great places to start. And I'll tell you why. Because they're real people. They're people who show up and they make you laugh or make you mad or whatever, but they affect you. And they're real people. And what we want to bring out are real people, even if you're playing a spider, a dog, a cloud that talks, whatever it is, you want that humanity to come through. You're welcome. Thank you, Michael Glover. The raspberry works great for this. Sounds nice. What did I miss? Anything? Well, you know what? I'll talk a little bit about demos, because that comes up a lot. I can't tell you how many times somebody has sent me their demo, and it's terrible. It doesn't mean that they're terrible as a voice actor. It just means their demo doesn't represent them well. So let's talk about a demo that would represent you well. One, video game demo, you want a variety of characters that feel and sound like they're in a video game. But you also want your voice to be the star of the show. You don't want to be overpowered by special effects, music, and sound design, and too much compression and things changing your voice pitch and what. You don't want that. You want people to come away with a feeling of you, just like your favorite actor. Your favorite actor always seems like they're playing themselves, don't they? When I say actor, I mean actor or actress. And there's a reason for that. They are letting the character speak through them. Does that mean you shouldn't do crazy voices? No. But whatever that crazy voice is, let real humanity come through that crazy voice. And what you want to come back to over and over again, start with your signature voice, with who you are, and keep coming back to your signature voice, and end with your signature voice. And this is through whatever kinds of demos that you're going to do. If you're doing a commercial demo, same thing, but what you're looking at there are product categories and how much energy here or how little energy here. And you can get a lot of that without changing your read that much by the music that is accompanying you. Once again, don't let the music overpower, but look to, you want some auto, you want some medical, you want some financial, you want some fast food, you want some national retail, you want some high tech, you want a variety of the things that people are shopping for and buying now. I was listening to a few demos not so long ago, and there were 3 or 4 car spots and then a couple of medical things, and that was it. And it was like, well, you don't need that many car spots, you don't need that many medical things, but you do need a variety of other things. And know who your voice appeals to. Not every voice is going to appeal to every demographic, and some voices are going to cut across lines better than others. But know who your audience is, the people who are going to be receptive to your voice and your personality. And this is a little different than it used to be. We used to, okay, beautiful voice and professional read. Hey, great, we got it. The world's a little different now. How often do you recommend that you update demos? Excuse me. Well, you should update them more often than I have updated mine. I'm so guilty of this. I went for a lot of years and didn't update my demos, I'm ashamed to say. And the reason, I have 2 reasons. One, I was working all the time. 2, I procrastinate. But for me, much as it is important, it's not as important, it wasn't as important for me to update my demos as it is for somebody who's just getting started or, closer to the beginning of their career to update their demos. You want to make sure that when you're being introduced to the market, that your demos are updated. Now, if you are working pro like myself and you run into that brick wall of, hey, somehow I'm just not booking and my demos are too dated for my agent to share, for me to share, then you probably need to update your demos. There's 2 ways to do that. You can have them completely redone, or if you have things that aren't too old, you can bring some of the newer things that you've done to your demo and move the older things back and mix it up so you still get a good feeling of who you are. But don't let your demo have something on it that's supposedly high tech, and it's, you're talking about AOL. All right, Marion and Toro, as far as video games, I only have 1 RPG, 1 versus, and 1 visual novel. Should I wait to get more video game work to make a demo? Not necessarily. One of the things that helps a lot of people who have been doing this for a while is your work is on YouTube or Twitch, and you can pull the videos off with your work. If you don't have enough of that, you can still pull the audio and create some other audio to surround it. Often we feel like, I should be doing this kind of work. And this is still on the demo thing. We should be doing this kind of work or that kind of work. And nobody's hiring me for that, or play these kinds of characters. Nobody's hiring me for that right now. I want to show them that I can. Well, this is the perfect opportunity. You have some things that you can pull, get the audio from, and now you can create a few other things that show off some of the other talents that you want to show off, some of the other voices, other characters, other feels in your read that you want to show off that right now you haven't had an opportunity to. All right, TJ Jones, what's up? The baby and I are here. Sup, Dave? You never know. Okay, good. Janet's not driving in her car. We're glad to know. Steve Bailey, what's going on, man? Fred Ellis, how you doing? Mark Shady. Well, you know what? Couple more questions come in. I'll jump on those. But once again, up at the top of the page in the corner there, if you'd like to take the free webinar tomorrow where we're going to cover a number of different things. A few people are going to get a chance to read, hopefully, on each and every area that we're talking about. And I'll be dropping some bomb information about how to find your signature voice. And I guess I will wrap this up. Oh, one other thing. June, for some reason, in my career, has always been kind of slow. That's where things kind of slow down. I think people are going on vacation and taking their time before things pick up again as we get back to school, heading for late July and August. And it didn't slow down until about the 1st of August. I don't know if that's happening for other people, but that seems to be what I see. And this is a good time to get those private lessons in. This is a good time to update your demo. This is a good time to reassess what your website looks like and make your plan for moving forward for the rest of the year and next year. Because I guarantee if you wait until the holiday season, suddenly it's party, and I got to go here and I got to go there, and family's coming to town, and oh geez, I'm going to be traveling, and you won't get it done. So if you've got a little lull right now, use that time to kind of plan some things, take a step back and look at where you are, where you want to be, and the things you think you might need to do to push yourself forward. What advice would you give to someone that has a baritone voice, which a lot of people say that you would be great for radio, TV? It seems to me that the trend is to get away from that type of old school voice. You mentioned the read is what's important. Anything else? Stop listening to your voice. People are going to notice your voice. If you have a deep voice, they're just going to notice. When you're the guy that shows up in the, hey, how you doing? What's going on? People notice that. And on one hand, they love it. It is attractive. And we notice a deep voice in men and women. But too often people with beautiful voices lean into their voices. So everything's, hey, how you doing? What's going on? I'm this guy, and I'm trying to show you how wonderful my voice is. When you're that guy, you're cutting off a lot of your emotional range. You're cutting off a lot of the ways that just as a normal human being, we connect with people. You may be cutting off the idea of your vulnerability because you just seem like that guy that can't be vulnerable. So I would not lean into that voice. I would lean out of that voice. And actually, all it really takes, stop listening to yourself and pay attention to what you're thinking and feeling. All right, Bob Kloffenstein, do you believe that dialect reduction is necessary or go with what you're given? I don't believe dialogue reduction is necessary unless your dialect is so heavy. Bye. Unless your dialogue is so heavy that people can't understand you. Sofia Vergara comes to mind, and that very, very thick Colombian accent that she has. But that works for her. That works for her. And we as consumers of television and movies love it. So no. There was a time about 20 years ago, I was on a panel for SAG-AFTRA. Well, it was actually just SAG at the time. Or maybe it was after. Anyway, one of the unions. And that question came up, and there was a lot of talk about eliminate your accent, minimize your accent. I just don't believe that anymore. We're living in a world now where when you really pay attention, we are hearing accents from every part of the United States, because we have many dialects. We are hearing accents from every part of the world. So go forth and voice, my friend. Sean Siegler, yeah, I produced the Portland date disc. I noticed the Portland date disc. Yeah, we just didn't sell enough people coming to it, so we decided not to go. Let's see. I've always found that June is the time of the year where things slow down. Yep, yeah, she agrees with me. This is the time of year to get. Oh, okay, you're quoting me. Ha, okay. Hey, Jackie Bales, how you doing? Well, you know what? We're in 45 minutes. I think I'm going to call it. I have enjoyed. Oh wait, you guys still going to the Portland? No, we're not going to Portland. Sorry. I have enjoyed it. I love talking to you guys. I really do, and I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. Once again, tomorrow, 7 p.m., free webinar. You got to click on the link and sign up, and if you don't do it today, you can do it tomorrow. Hope you'll do it today. And we're going to have a lot of fun, get some people doing some reads. And once again, private coaching, you can visit davefennoy.com, click on the study voiceover tab, and get yourself booked. And in the meantime, and in between time, as we used to say, nobody says that anymore. In the meantime and in between time, the clock on the wall says that's all. You can tell I was in radio. We will see you tomorrow, those of you who are joining me for that, and next Wednesday, otherwise. All the best, and I'll see you later.